Freedom. Isn't that why you became a business owner in the first place? That's what I thought. But after being in business for 10 years, I was anything but free. The business was always there, whether I was on vacation or whether I was at home or whatever was going on, it was always there. The problems I knew I was going to have to come back to, the working on the everyday menial things rather than the real important things. That all changed when I went out and looked for a new management system, and when I didn't find it, I invented it myself. In the next hour, you will discover how to get true freedom in your business and your life. Can anybody guess who says this? The purpose of being in business is to live your life the way you want to live your life. Anybody have an idea who said that? I got that from our grand poobah, Dan Kennedy. The purpose of being in business is to live your life the way you want to live your life. And if you look at Dan, that's exactly what he does. Lives his life the way he wants to live his life. And why on earth would you put up with the hassles of being a business owner if you can't do that? Live your life the way you want to live your life. Now, we're going to talk about that a lot today, this morning, but we're going to also add, and make a lot more money. Sound like a good idea? Live your life that you want to live and make a lot more money? Anybody want to do that this morning? Good enough. You're going to learn how to 10 times your sales and profits, and you're going to learn how to sell your business for millions more when it's time to sell your business. And that's what I just did a little over 6 months ago. I've been there in those same conversations with you. Whenever you get together with other business owners, the conversation always gets around to the pain and the agony of trying to get your team, trying to get everybody on the same page, working together and getting things done by system rather than by just hope and prayer. That's what we're going to be talking about this morning. This is Dan's favorite thing to pick out of what I talk to him about. I talk to Dan a lot. In my business that I sold, the last year we shipped 46,432 orders to 8,645 clients. And every one of those clients gets this message from me. If we ever let you down, please call me at 800-426-5708 right away so we can make it right. If you're still not happy, call me on my direct line, 253-859-7310, so I can make it right. Now, if you had almost 10,000 customers, ship 48,000 orders, would you dare give every one of those customers, many times a year I tell them that, to call me if they're not happy? If you wouldn't do that, you really need to pay attention today. Now, the reason that I could do that, the reason I could give all 10,000 of those people my phone number and have them call me if they're not happy is because of the systems that we put together and the empowerment that I gave the team at American Retail Supply. So here's something that, actually I got this from Speaking Empire that I ran across. 70% of business owners report that they don't have enough time for their children. 82% check their email while on vacation. 95% work more hours than they would at a regular job. 60% report being on the verge of a nervous breakdown. 80% say they have a hard time juggling business and life. 72% are ready to quit, and 62% go home with a headache, a neck ache, or can't sleep. It does not sound like they're living the life that they want to live. And that's what I'm here to help you do, is live your life the way you want to live your life. Anybody know who that is? Grant Miller with Sun Your Buns. He's been in a lot of Dan Kennedy newsletters. And when I first brought this to market, he knew that I was going to have a lunch the next day at a super conference. And I happened to be talking to him the night before, and he asked me, so what is this thing you're doing tomorrow? And we talked about it for a while, and he said, well, you're showing people how to live their bucket list now, not wait to live their bucket list. And I said, whoa, that's kind of cool. And so that's been the highlight or the theme of this presentation ever since he told me that. Now, the bucket list is that story of the two guys that found out they had terminal cancer, so they were going to go out and try and live their bucket list before they died Jack Nicklaus and Morgan Freeman. Don't wait to live your bucket list. Too many business people get so busy that they don't live their bucket list now. They're not doing those things now that they really want to do. Come time that they're ready to retire or sell their business, they're not getting the money they want to get for it. And then their health is gone and they never live their bucket list. Live your bucket list now. I'm going to talk a little bit about my bucket list over the next 2 minutes. But what's critically important here is that while I talk about my bucket list, that you think about your bucket list. Please do this with me. While I grew American Retail Supply from a little less than $500,000 in sales up to $15 million in sales, and lived my bucket list all along the way. And along that way also I added 4 more businesses to the mix. So now I'm down to 4 businesses. I sold the big business. Now one of the things that we do is part of my bucket list is the vacations we go on. I've gone on, since I put this into effect about 20 years ago, I go on vacation about 10 times a year, about a week each time, and I do that with my family, and we have a great time. The other part that you're going to do when you do this right is when it comes time to sell your business, you're going to sell it for millions more than you would have before. That's what we're talking about now, and we'll get into that and exactly how that happens a little later. But I made that cash register big because that was really fun. I got to tell you, when you go to sell your business and you find out that it's actually worth way more than you thought it was, that's a good thing. And when you can retire, well, I'm not retired because I have the other businesses, but when you can become financially secure, that's a fun thing to do. And again, sell your business for millions more. It's all because of the system. And this is the guy, he's the inspiration behind the system. This is Jeff Heiss. We do the Kennedy Mastermind groups in the Seattle area. Jeff is part of my mastermind group. And one day he asked, why did these mastermind groups start? How did they start? And I said, well, I think Dan Kennedy really wants to be known as the millionaire maker. He wants to leave this legacy of being the millionaire maker. He wants that Napoleon Hill type thing going on. And we talked about that a bit, and I told him, but that's not what I want to do. That's not my legacy. My legacy is I want my close friends and my family, when I leave, to say, wow, I'm glad he was part of my life. So that was the legacy I wanted left. But then Jeff came back and he said, but Keith, if you brought that management system to market that you have, because he knew I had this management system that allowed me to start other businesses, it allowed me to have 60 employees in one business, start another business, and take all these great vacations and spend time with my family. He said, if you were to do that for other businesses, just think of how many people you could touch. Now, one of the reasons he said that is that he knew he needed my system. Okay? And the reality is, he was the first buyer of my system when I brought it to market. So, and I'm glad to say his business since that in just over 3 years has tripled. We're going to talk about living your bucket list now. This is my bucket list. This is me and Carson, my grandson, a couple years ago at our house in Seattle on the 4th of July. That's bucket list stuff for me. This is Whitney. That's last year skiing at our house in Montana. And she's got her tutu on there, and she's 2 years old, and she actually started skiing the year before that, so she started skiing at 22 months. So she has the record of being the youngest Lee to ever start skiing. This is also my bucket list. Now, this has nothing to do with my management system. It might in a way. But if you take nothing else out of today's presentation, take this out of it. Think of your bucket list, and think of things. Put things in your bucket list that require you to be healthy as you get older. I'm older, okay? I'm one of those older guys, okay? Now, I don't work out, and I don't eat right, and I don't do all of those things just to stay in shape. I do them so I can live things in my bucket list. And this is one of those things. I'm the black blob sitting up against the tree there. And this is my daughter Jenny and I at the top of Downing Mountain. It's 8,000 feet high. We skinned up from 5,000 feet to 8,000 feet. We skied down to 7,000, skinned up to 8,000, skied down to 7, skinned up to 8,000. That requires me to be in shape if I'm going to do that with Jenny, but that's my bucket list. So make sure in your bucket list you have things to keep you healthy. Another one of the things in my bucket list is I want to ski Exterminator. You can see skiing is kind of a big part of our life. I want to ski Exterminator with my granddaughter, Whitney. Exterminator is called Exterminator for a reason. Okay, there's a reason for it to be called Exterminator. She ain't going to be able to do that for 7 years. That means I'm going to need to be in great shape 7 years from now because I don't want to just get down Exterminator. I want to ski it like it's supposed to be skied, and I want to do that with Whitney. So now I stay in shape and I eat right so that I can do that with Whitney. I'm not sitting there on the machine doing this thing and saying, I need to stay in shape, I need to stay in shape. I'm on there saying, I'm going to ski with Whitney, I'm going to ski with Whitney. Okay? So add that to it. Here's another one that's going to be on the bucket list. This is going to be us in March. Jenny, my daughter, and Travis and I are going to go helicopter ski in Alaska. And you got to be in shape for that, and I don't plan on missing a single run because you pay for the runs anyhow. And if I miss a run, guess what? Jenny and Travis can't go on it either. So I'm going to hold them back too if I miss it. So I got to be in shape for that one. Now, my bucket list also is my job. I love my job. I love the marketing that I do. I love the things I do. I don't do the normal things of hassle things. It's so cool when you hear somebody in your business taking care of an issue or a problem, and you know that they have it handled, and you don't have to get involved whatsoever. Again, I want to harp on this. The purpose of being in business is to live your life the way you want to live your life. In regards to your business, so I've become a slave to my business. It seems like I'm always responding to things and taking care of problems. I have no time for myself. This is not fun. My business runs well, but if it ran smoother and I didn't have so many regular, everyday, menial things, I could work on actually improving and growing the business. Or my business is great, but I'm always looking for ways to improve. Now let me ask you this. Would you like to implement a system that ensures you do things in your business correctly every time? Spend your time working on your business rather than in your business. Spend your time working on the important things in your business and not basic menial tasks. Have more time to spend on the things you want to do, not the things you have to do, and make a lot more money. How many of you would like to do that? Let me see. Excellent. How many of you think that I can show you everything you need to do that in the next 50 minutes? I can show you everything you need in the next 50 minutes. Well, I need to tell you I can't do that, so I already let this cat out of the bag, I know. I just may have something for you to invest in. Now, how many of you came here with the idea that I may have something for you to invest in? Raise your hand if you thought that might happen. That's fabulous. Thank you. A big part of our management system is the customer service part. And in the customer service part, the minimum level of service that we expect is to meet your expectations. So I want to tell you, I am so glad that I've already met your expectations. I will have something that you can invest in when we're done. Make You Happy management system. It makes you happy, it makes your managers happy, it makes your employees happy, it makes your vendors happy, but most importantly, it makes you happy. And that's why it's called the Make You Happy management system. I love this. It's 3 of the most important reasons that you need what I'm talking about here. And Dan Kennedy says, all wealth is based on systems. Michael Gerber says, let systems run the business and people run the systems. People come and go, but systems remain constant. And I say systems set you free. That's the biggest thing for me. Now, I want to make sure you understand this. A system is simply the documented way to do something. You have something that you do in your business and you write down the way you do it. You simply write it down. This is a system. Dan Kennedy talked about it in a recent newsletter. He goes to a racetrack and they have a valet. The valet has a card with the 6 things that the valet does when you get there. On the card it also says the 6 things that he does when you leave. That's a system. It is no more complicated than that. Okay? Now, a lot of business coaches, a lot of business guys that go around teaching you how to manage, they try to make systems complicated. Okay? Here was on the E-Myth, a business management system. It's a complex system of people and systems that are all evolving at the same time. To build a great business, to get out of the survival mode, you need an outside perspective to help you see it clearly. Someone who will call it like it is and won't waste a bunch of time and money on band-aids and tricks. Let me tell you what that is. Okay? It is not complicated. A system is simply documenting the way you do things. Now, is it time-consuming? Yeah. But I'm going to show you how to cut that time into a fraction of what it takes most people. A tiny fraction of it. Why does a business management people want you to think systems are complicated? They want a job, and they want to come in, and they want to spend a lot of time with you, and they want to spend months and months of charging you thousands and thousands of dollars. That's what most business management guys do. It's not what I do. I'm a Kennedy guy, so I Kennedy-ized this. I made it simple for you to implement in your business. You create a system when you document, put in writing something that needs to be done in your business. You create an effective business management system when you have everything you do documented and have an effective performance management system. Now stop! I said effective performance management system, and some of you already said, oh my God, he's talking performance reviews. And I can tell you I'm not talking performance reviews. That's all anybody knows as far as performance management, but I'm not talking performance reviews because performance reviews suck. How many of you have ever been on the giving or have ever gave or received a performance review? Raise your hand real high, look around the room. Like Dan says, you'll get more out of it by looking around the room. How many of you thought that they were inspirational, motivational, and got the performance that was wanted? Raise your hand. Okay, that's about normal. About 2 out of 40 think they're pretty good. The rest of us think they suck. And they do suck. And I'll show you another way. Even if you think they're good, I'll show you a better way. It's Vince Zerpoli's way. That's what I learned from Vince Zerpoli. Bill talked about Vince yesterday. I'll talk about Vince a little bit more as we go. A performance review is like trying to drive your car by looking in the rearview mirror. Let me ask you this question. If you got a teenage daughter, would you get the performance you want out of your daughter by having an annual performance review? Think so? How about a semi-annual, twice a year? She'll come through, right? Quarterly? How about a quarterly review? You know, your employees cannot be scarier than a teenager. You can do this. Okay, a performance review or a personal development interview. Just think of what they're called. And it's more than semantics when you get to it, though, when you learn how to do it. But just look at what they're called. A performance review, personal development interview. If you're on the giving end, if you're the manager, would you rather review someone in hindsight or develop them? If you're on the receiving end, if you're the one being evaluated or interviewed, would you rather be reviewed or would you rather be developed? And which is going to get the results you want in your business? Developing people or reviewing them? And this is way more than just semantics. Bill Glazer, we'll talk about him for a little bit. I did a ton of work with Bill. I don't think anyone is here. There are actually 2 people here this week that came to GKIC from an event that I did with Bill Glazer in 2005, where we put 800 people in a room in Tacoma, 800 of my customers from my retail supply business, and 2 of those guys are still members of GKIC. 4 of those guys are in my mastermind group in Seattle. But I've done a lot of work with Bill over the years, and if you ask Dan, now Bill showed you yesterday what he did to grow GKIC. Now if you ask Dan why he brought Bill in, Dan is going to tell you that Bill was willing to have employees, and he knew Bill was good at having employees and good at managing a team. And what is the one thing that Dan will not do? Have employees and manage a team. So that's why he brought on Bill. And what's important to that is this guy. This is Vince Zerpoli, who Bill introduced me to in 2005. Vince is now 89 years old. He wants his performance management system to go on beyond his life. So I approached him and I said, Vince, I'd like to buy the rights to your management system and anything you have to go with it. I'd like to buy the rights to that and be able to make it into this system that I can then make into a fill-in-the-blanks thing. Vince did all one-on-one counseling. He did it that way. That's not what I'm interested in. I wanted to make it a fill-in-the-blanks thing. So I went and I talked to Vince, and he was ecstatic to hear that I was going to do that. And what I ended up getting was absolutely amazing, and we'll talk about that a little later. But that was wonderful. Bill says there's 3 really important people in his business life. His dad, Dan Kennedy, and Vince Serpoli. And Vince has developed this system that is, when you use it, it'll blow you away. Go talk to Mike Crow or his daughter, Krista, that runs the business for him about personal development interviews. Personal development interview. You love them, your managers will love them, your entire team will love them. They increase job satisfaction and morale. They increase the behavior you want. You know what's going on in your entire organization more than ever. That was the big shock to me, is how much more now I knew about what was going on. And you can do this. I did this when I had my big business. I had 6 people reporting to me, and I did this in 1 hour a week. I had my personal development interviews every other week with my managers. They were 20 minutes each, about. Sometimes they were less, sometimes they were more. But I got that all done in 1 hour a week. And here's the coolest part. Every personal development interview, the person leaving is pumped up, ready to go, take on the world. Just think of it in your business. If everyone was pumped up, ready to go take on the world every other week after meeting with you for 20 minutes, or your managers. In fact, one of the rules in personal development interviews is that it's your job as the manager to make sure they leave pumped up, ready to go take on the world, unless you're ready to fire them. Okay? So that means we teach you how to make sure and do that also. It's not just, we don't just throw you at it, but we teach you how to get that done. Here's Krista Thrantham, Mike Crow's daughter, who runs Coach Blueprint. She said, "Thanks, Keith. I had 2 staff members who I was ready to fire. Within weeks of implementing your personal development interviews, they turned into good long-term team members who are still with us today." Now, when I got Vince's stuff, I got I call it Vince's treasure chest. I got all this stuff that I knew I was going to get, but then I got this drive. It's the big, thick drive, like it used to put your computer stuff on, and it's thick and wide, and you got to shove it in this. I had to go find the drive. I had to buy it on eBay so that I could put it in there and use it. What I found was like sunken treasure. His 20 years, his entire archives of how he created these personal development interviews for 254 different job positions. So we've got these 254 different job positions, and I went in and I categorized them so that you can now go in and easily find one of the jobs that's similar to what you have in your business. And what do we do in Kennedy stuff? You get the marketing, and you tweak it to make it work in your business. Exact same thing that we do here. Okay? This is just a few of the 254 job positions, at about a third of them that are in there. Now, Bill Glazier, when I was in his high-level mastermind group, I was a year after that picture last night. When I was in that group, he called me the king of swipe and deploy. He said, "Keith has never had an original idea in his life." And I take that as a compliment. I don't have original ideas, but I'm really good at taking other stuff and making it simple and putting it together for my team and for you to use. And that's what I did. I created a system, because I love to swipe and deploy, that you can swipe and deploy. I don't believe in recreating the wheel. You don't need to start from scratch in doing this. And in fact, when you implement personal development interviews and you start talking to buyers of your business, we ended up with multiple full price offers, and I'm talking to them about how we get how we get such great results out of our team. And you start talking to buyers of your business, and you start telling them that you don't have performance reviews, you have personal development interviews, and you talk about them a little bit, they start salivating like a dog. They don't have to do performance reviews, but yet they do have a great performance management system. That drove up the price that I was able to get for my business when I sold it. And then we're going to go back to what Dan Kennedy says. All wealth is based on systems. Now, Dan asked me to write 3 chapters in Ruthless Management for his Ruthless Management BS book. I'm the only co-author in that book with him. And while I don't think anyone would call my system ruthless by any means. In fact, in the book, Dan calls me a kindler, gentler guy than he. But it is something that he thought was powerful enough because Dan believes in systems, okay? And it's also why I'm the only person, well, I guess there might be 1 or 2 others. I'm going to join Dan on stage at Renegade Millionaire next July to help to tell people about systems and how you get your business to this point. In your business, you should do only things that multiply yourself. You should not be doing everyday mundane things. I do things that multiply me. I do the marketing. I buy other businesses. I work on projects. I start other businesses. I do the things that multiply myself. I do the marketing. Okay? You should be doing the things that multiply yourself and not be doing mundane things. That's for other people to do. And my goal, my number 1 goal for everyone in my system is to make you irrelevant to your business. To make you irrelevant to the day-to-day operations to start with, and then the week-to-week operations, and then even the month-to-month. And you'll see what I mean here in just a minute. A number of years ago, I went on a 3-week Mediterranean cruise. I told my operations manager where I was going and what ship I was on. And that's it. I knew she wasn't going to call me. I hadn't gotten a phone call for 15 or 20 years when I go on vacation because my team is empowered and we have the systems put together that things don't happen that they need to talk to me about. So I went on vacation 3 weeks and didn't have a cell phone, had no way for her to contact me unless it was some dire emergency, and she would have had to figure out some way to contact me. About 3 years ago, I do a lot of skiing, as you saw, and I did that. I ran into a tree. I had my helmet on. I had a level 4 concussion. I was worthless for 4 months. I actually signed over the rights. I couldn't do anything legally for the business for 4 months. I signed that over to Travis. And when I came back 4 months later, the business was running better than when I left. And the reason it does that is that's what it does all the time. It's the systems. It's not me that makes the business run better than it does all the time. Now, hopefully I add something, okay? But the business improves all the time with or without me. And so my goal for you, my first goal is to make you irrelevant, and then my goal is to make it so that your business continually improves with or without you. And that leads to freedom. That's when you're really free. Okay? And isn't that why we became business owners in the first place? We thought we were going to be free. I got to tell you, in 1992, I was anything but free. Okay? When it comes time to sell your business and you're critical to the business, how much is it going to be worth? You're critical for the business, you want to sell it, you want to get out of it. What's it worth? It ain't worth squat. I'll tell you that right now. I bought bunches of businesses like that over the years. Bought lots of businesses like that. You buy them for pennies on the dollar. It's fabulous. I can tell you that what happened with me is not that. And in fact, my biggest challenge over the last few months is finding a wealth advisor. And that's a fun challenge to have. So I went to Greg Rutkowski, and I went to him actually last spring. And someone referred him to me because he's good at putting together a 5-year plan to sell your business. Everybody, everybody tells you need a 5-year plan to sell your business. So I went and I talked to Greg, and I thought I would get this 5-year plan together. He said, Keith, you don't need a 5-year plan. You've done what everybody else has to do for 5 years to get their business ready to sell. You have the systems in place so that somebody can come in and take it over easily and grow it from where it is. They don't have to come in and fix things because you have the systems in place. He says, you don't need a 5-year plan. He says, if I can get the right price, are you willing to sell now? And I said, well, it depends on what that right price is.
And I gave him some numbers. We did some stuff. He came back 2 weeks later. He gave me a price. And I said, damn rights. I'm ready to sell the business. And we sold the business. We had offers within 3 months. We had multiple full-price offers. Because people found out about performance management, because of the systems we had in place, the value of the business was actually bid up, and we sold it for more than the asking price. That is fun. Now, I need to tell you, if you think you can put these systems together or sell your business and running it out of your hip pocket or the back of your head, if you think you're going to sell your business for a premium when it's time to sell it, you're smoking crack. That ain't going to happen. And it ain't going to happen in 3 weeks. It's going to be 5 years. And in the meantime, you will have wasted all of this time and effort on something that would be so much easier if you do it now. And then when it's time to sell your business, you're going to get that premium. Buyers look as much or more for fail-safe systems as they do for revenue and profit. The people that bought my business loved the fact that they didn't have to come in and fix things, loved the fact that we had a performance management system that actually worked, and they also wanted my customer list because they already had a product to sell to that customer list too. So all of those things together, I sold the business for millions more than like businesses sell for. Michael Gerber says, let systems run the business and people run the systems. People come and go, but systems remain constant. This is why you need systems. Someone comes to work for you and the knowledge that they have in the job grows, right? And then they leave. Bing. Then somebody else comes. Bing. And then they leave. Bing. If you have systems, this is what happens, okay? With systems, how hard is it to replace something? Again, remember, systems are simply the written documentation on how to do something. Think of this one. It's an easy one to think of. Everybody knows what a receptionist does. If you have everything documented that your receptionist does, and in our business, that's 32 different things, everything written down, and that receptionist leaves, how hard is it to get the receptionist back up to speed when they leave? Nothing. I mean, it happens quickly. That's what we're talking about. That's why you need systems. And then what happens is that this new person comes in with a new set of eyes, and things even improve more because they've already improved to where that person can get it. This new person sees some opportunities, and they improve more. Before I left, our manager of our warehouse in Honolulu was leaving. Our main office is in Seattle. And he was going to leave, and I told Mary, our operations manager, oh, that's too bad. Martine's really good. She says, you know what? It always works out for the best. Because this happens. Somebody with a new set of eyes comes in and sees ways to improve it even more. This is Preston Letts with Letts Property Management. He said, before I started your system, I did everything I could to not hire someone. I kept bad employees because I knew the process of turning that position over was going to make my life a living hell. I was going to have to do the work of that position, work tons of hours, extra hours, and do the rest of my job. Now with our MJRs, when someone leaves, the new person is up to speed in no time, and I have a much better team. You no longer have to settle for that employee that's not really doing what needs to be done because they can be replaced because you have systems in place to train them. For me, the big thing was in 1992, and why I developed this in the first place, is that systems set you free. 1981, started managing American Retail Supply. We sold handheld price marking guns to retail stores. Fabulous business in 1981, right? No. It sucked. It absolutely sucked. Barcodes were coming. It was going down the tube. But I found out about Kennedy, and the business grew dramatically. We grew from about 300,000 to a couple million. We certainly didn't get to the 15 million that we eventually got to, but we grew it dramatically. This is me going to work back in 1992. This is me at work after a half an hour. I need to tell you, that was not comfortable. I was taking care of I had too many problems, too many issues. I am the guy that would have checked. I have become a slave to my business. It seems like I'm always responding to things and taking care of problems. I have no time for myself. This is not fun. That described me in 1992. Here's what happened. The business was growing. It was growing great, but I had this thing with my kids. My number one goal in my performance planner, my Zig Ziglar performance planner back in 1981 and through the 80s was no cats. And that's Harry Chapin. The cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, Dad, I don't know when. We'll get together then, son. I wasn't going to have that in my life. And I knew that in my life that if I grew up and my kids didn't want to be around me, it wasn't going to be because I didn't spend time with them when they were young. So I was not willing to give up anything on that. But this business was growing dramatically, and I was that red-faced guy that really needed help. And I knew I got this right. When Travis was a senior year in college, and for spring break, what is he asked to do? Not to go to Mexico and party or Florida and party. He says, Dad, can we go skiing for spring break my senior year? That's when I knew I had it right. And then 2 years later, when my daughter says, Dad, can we go skiing on spring break for my senior year? I knew I had it right. By the way, that was a promotion I did, Dan Kennedy promotion I did back there with that postcard with my daughter. That was kind of fun. But this was me. That's what I looked like. So I went out and I studied the systems guys at the time. I went out and studied the management gurus, Joseph Duran, Phil Crosby, W. Edwards Deming. I went out and I studied those guys and I learned a ton, but it didn't all fit together. They were all in manufacturing. How many of you are in manufacturing in here? Okay, one. Okay. My system is not for manufacturers. In manufacturing, you can dial in quality. You can buy the best machinery. You can hire the best engineers, and then quality, you don't have to necessarily have your whole team on board greatly to turn out a quality product. In our businesses, what is quality? Quality is our people. Okay, we need buy-in if we're going to have quality in our kinds of businesses. And that's what was missing out of Deming. That's what's missing out of Gerber, okay, is getting buy-in. So we work on buy-in a lot. There are some other flaws with the E-Myth, and I'm not picking on them, but if you've studied the E-Myth and you said, oh, key stuff is just the E-Myth, it's not. And here's the reason it's not. The E-Myth is time-consuming. In order to make all of those systems from scratch, it's incredibly time-consuming. It's also complicated. They told you it's complicated on their website. It's complicated. You can't do this. It's not complicated. Systems are simple. Written documentation followed up by a performance management system powered by personal development interviews. It's cost money one way or another, either in a tremendous amount of time on putting all of those systems together, or the people. How many of you know a bit about E-Myth? Raise your hand if you do. How many of you have implemented E-Myth totally across your entire company? Wow. That's only the second time I've seen hands go up. It's time-consuming, okay? In fact, I don't have time to get into that. But it's time-consuming, or you got to spend, or you didn't get there. Did you hire them? Okay. If you hire them, yeah. But if you hire them, it's like $100,000 before you're done. Okay. It still relies on performance reviews. They don't have anything to fix performance reviews. And I think performance reviews are just after we've done what we've done, it's antique performance reviews. They're antique. And here's the biggest thing, though. Business improvement is still dependent almost exclusively on you, the business owner, and you ain't that smart. But you and your team are that smart. It's not relying on just you. It's relying on you and your team. What happens in Gerber's system, he has a franchise model. In the franchise model, the franchisor tells the franchisees everything that they do. And if you're McDonald's, it works out great because you've got teams of people going around the world and across the country studying this and studying that, and they learn what works best, and they can tell you how to do it. And that's what Gerber talks about, is you telling your team how to do everything. God, that sounds like a pain in the ass, excuse me. We don't do the franchise model. In our model, your team is the expert. And if you rely on the franchise model, that means you need to come up with all of these systems. What's the other thing that's wrong with that? Is you don't get your team on board in buying in. Who's the best person in your business? If you have a business with a frontline people that talk to clients, who are the best people in your business to determine the best way to take care of them? Not you if you're not out there doing it. You need your team involved, and that's what's so critically important here, and that's what we do. And again, we're going to the point where the improvement of your business is not dependent on you. Your business improves every day with or without you. Dan Kennedy says it this way: when I assert that the worst number in business is 1, and I say I mean 1 of anything, that includes you. If too much depends on you, then you don't have a business, you have a job. So far we talked about systems and buy-in, performance management using personal development interviews. Got another part of this that's critically important to me, and that is customer service. And the reason customer service is part of this is that I think that if you're really not interested in having exceptional customer service, your business is only going to be mediocre at best. And I'm not interested in working with people that want a business that's mediocre or best. So customer service is a huge part of what we also teach. Now let me ask you this: what should your customer service training look like if you are committed to exceptional customer service? What should it look like? Should it be, we tell our staff to deliver good customer service, they know what that is. We tell our staff to deliver good customer service and give some examples sometimes, but nothing formal. We have meetings about customer service once in a while and tell everyone they should give good customer service. All staff gets new customer service training when they are hired, or E. Everyone has gone through our customer service training, and they are consistently and persistently reminded about our customer service expectations. If you're committed to great customer service, how many of you think the answer should be E, that everyone has gone through the customer service training and they're consistently and persistently reminded? Raise your hand and look around the room. How many of you think the training should be that? Okay. Now, when people come and buy my book, any of my books, we ask them what best describes your customer service training. We tell our staff, how many of them do you think choose E as what they actually do in their business? 2%. Everybody thinks they should have this training and the consistent reminders, but only 2% actually do it. And why don't we do it? Because that's us. We're busy business owners. We got plenty of other things to do, and it gets set to the back burner. And we talk about it once in a while, but that's about it. Now, Make You Happy customer service is customer service that is so good that customers come back time after time and enthusiastically tell others about you. This is how we do it in our systems. First off, you get a fast start guide and a CD with all of the things that you need to get started and get going quickly and easily. And you then get our customer service training DVD. That's for everybody to watch. And you have that big meeting, that big rah-rah meeting that you might have now. Anybody have the rah-rah meeting once in a while on customer service? Yeah? But then what happens a few weeks later? You're right back to where you were before because you don't have the consistent reminders. Okay? That's what we used to do. But you have this, and you need this rah-rah meeting. So we have that, and it talks about some service and some independent businesses in it. It comes with the leader's guide, a workbook, and then you have the Make You Happy New Employee training and DVD also. This training is exactly the same as the other one, except for it opens up with, congratulations, you're our next customer service superstar. How do we know you're our next customer service superstar? Because we saw that in the hiring process. So it gets them into it, and then the rest of the training is the exact same training. Every new team member should get this training the very first day, the very first hour. We've done that for 20 years now. First hour of training, customer service, and it makes a huge impact. They get the leader's guide and a workbook for that also. Then you get the ongoing training guidelines, and you get 3 months of my Inner Circle membership, customer service Inner Circle membership. I don't have time to go into that today, but you'll have 3 months to determine whether you want to keep it or not. And by the way, I'm not anywhere near a close on this yet. I got a lot of stuff to cover still, but that's the system. That's how you train a team. That's how you make sure that you do have that exceptional customer service. Creating systems to control your business. A system, again, is simply the documented way to do something. We call them our make you happy job requirements. And here's how we do them. I'm going to show you how to create 3 systems in 13 minutes for your business. This is and let me make sure you understand, your business is not different. I have 2 distribution businesses, I have 2 consulting businesses, and I have a manufacturing business. 80%, upwards of 80% of all of the MJRs are the same in all 5 businesses. Okay, so your business is not different. Let's say you have a fundraiser. So somebody comes to work and they got the fundraiser going on. And their daughter has the fundraiser at school. And what happens? They go around, they waste everybody's time, they make everybody uncomfortable, and you've got to deal with that. We have an MJR on fundraisers and what you can and can't do when you have a fundraiser. Which one of the things you can't do is go around and talk to everybody. You can do these other things. Could you take my MJR, my system of fundraisers, and how to do it, and tweak it to work in your business, and now you have it in your business? Could you do that? Of course you could. How about one on the last person leaving the building? Could you take the checklist and what we do on last person leaving the building and tweak it to work in your business? How about greeting a transferred phone call? Are all transferred phone calls in your business greeted the same way? Do you have to train somebody by somebody actually sitting down in them when they're brand new and train them how to transfer a phone call properly? This is how you get to be exceptional, is everything is documented. That's how Disney is exceptional. Okay? They don't do it by the seat of their pants. Here's just a few of them that we have in accounting, for instance. When to expense or amortize a purchase, vacation requests in the accounting department, business insurance bid, allowing special terms. Could you take what we've written on those things and tweak it to work in your business, and now you have the systems? We have hundreds and hundreds of those, and so you can get going and have dozens and dozens and dozens of systems in place with almost no time at all. That's what we're talking about, not starting from scratch. And then we talk about when we put the systems together, then we get into, after you've looked at that and you've created a few systems in your business, you've gone in and you've determined how you would do them yourself, now it's time to get your team involved. And it's time to get them creating the systems. You ain't going to create them. I'm not big on making more work for you guys. I'm big on making less work for you guys. You're not going to be doing all this, and I'll tell you how you're going to do that in just a minute. But we first start with the DVD training where I show them how that they're this new management system and how they're empowered to take care of customers and coworkers. Now, what's the result of this? One of the results is I sold my business for millions more than similar businesses. Another result of this is that we were named the best small business to work for in Washington State. We didn't get that because we have the highest pay or the best benefits or foosball tables or childcare or anything like that. We got it because when Washington CEO Magazine came in, they saw that our business, more than anyone else, the frontline people were committed to the same things as the managers and owners. And that's why we got that business. They found people that loved to work there because they were empowered to do things and that they knew that they were important. That's what this is all about. But yet, we're the best business to work with, but yet 3 chapters in, ruthless management. Doesn't sound like it goes together, right? It does, because of the systems part. You don't have to be ruthless, but you at all, in my mind. Now you need to be ruthless with your systems. You get systems in place, they do it the right way. And if they don't, they get retrained, and if they don't, maybe retrained again and then they're fired. But you have the systems in place. Almost all failures in business, every failure in business is a failure in management. Mike Leach, coach of the Cougars, says that you either accept it, you either accept it or you manage it. What's happening in your business is happening because you've accepted it or you've managed it, which means if it's screwed up, it's only on you. Okay? But it's on you because you're using management systems that were. I was a management major in college. I don't use that system. It doesn't work. It's made for huge corporations, not for us. So turning your team into a system creating machine. We'll use a receptionist again as an example. So you make up two Make You Happy job requirements. You take the 30 that I have, you choose 2 of them, you write them up for how you think they are in your business, and then you sit down with the receptionist and you say, hey, and the receptionist has gone through this video training that I give you, right? And she's gone through that, so she knows what's going on. You sit down with her and you say, hey, this is how I think we do this. Is this how we really do it and how we should do it? And she says, no, we should do this. What have you done when you've done that? When you sit down and you say, is this the way we do it and the way we should do it? What have you done for her? You've empowered her. And now so you've done 2 of them. And then you give her the other 30 and you say, go through these, and if they're appropriate for us, tweak them to what we need in our business and use them. And now what have you done again? You've totally empowered her and showed her that you really mean it, that she's the one that's coming up with the way to do things in your business. And this is why you're not required to get things better. This is at the bottom. Remember, the system is simply the written documentation on how you do something. This is what's written at the bottom of every one of our Make You Happy job requirements. This Make You Happy job requirement is designed to ensure we meet or exceed internal and external customer expectations. Perform exactly like the requirement unless you find it does not meet or exceed expectations. If you find it no longer meets or exceeds expectations, take care of the customer. Then you are responsible for helping to change this to what we and our customers need. So, do it exactly like this, unless it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, do what you need to do to make it work, empowerment again. But now we need to change this. This is one of the ways that your business improves all the time, whether you're there or not. Do it this way. If it doesn't work, do it a better way. But get this written documentation changed. When you do that, you create a system and you empower your team, and things improve dramatically. This is Matthew Cotton he's an insurance agent in Belgium. He has an insurance agency. He bought the system, translated it into French. Can this work in your business? Okay. I don't have an insurance agency. He translated it into French, and now he's getting great results, and yet it's very simple but very powerful. This is Allison Walters. I love this one. Her dream job was to work in a nonprofit that she really loved, but she had this business. After implementing my system, she was able to she was able to basically turn the business over to her team to run, and she works full-time at the nonprofit now. This is Ben Glass. A lot of you have heard of him and a lot of Dan Kennedy stuff. Ben says it saved us hundreds of hours using my system, where you just go in and tweak things rather than start them from scratch yourself. This is one of my favorite ones, Rolf Williams. He owns a store. Now let me read this first. I've gotten my life back. I can go on vacation and not get a single phone call. It's amazing. And when people come, and when I come back, I don't have a pile of paperwork because I don't do that kind of work anymore. Now this guy sells office supplies and books. Is there much harder business for an independent business person to be in than office supplies and books? And yet he just got done adding 5,000 square feet to his store because of the system. It's a 3-month implementation. Why do I have a 3-month implementation? You and your team need time to change. This is big change, and you need time to change. It's not going to happen overnight. I can tell you that right now. You need to prove to your team that this isn't just your newest thing. Okay? Oh man, God, he's been to another one of those GKIC things, and he's bringing this back, and oh man, we're going to smile, and we're going to pretend this is the greatest thing since apple pie, but we know this too will pass. You need time to show them that this too will not pass. And it's a step-by-step system. It makes sense. Customer service, creating systems and team member empowerment, and performance management. And I start with customer service because it is so absolutely brain dead. You can literally implement the customer service in about 2 hours of your time. And that's why we start with it. It's so brain dead simple. Customer service, I talked about this already a bit, so I'm going to go really fast through this. You get the training CD. You get the Fast Start CD and the guide. Everything starts with a Fast Start CD and Fast Start written documentation so that you can get everything done, and it walks you through step by step exactly how to do things. You get the DVD, which is that training with your team, and then with that you get the leader's guide and the workbook that they fill out so they can't fall asleep during it. okay? You have to fill out the workbook. You get the new employee, Make You Happy customer service training DVD. Again, that's the same training, except for the different opening, and you make sure that that's the very first training they get, the very first hour of employment. And then you get the ongoing training guidelines. You get 3 months of my Make You Happy Inner Circle membership. I don't have time to go through that. You'll have 3 months to determine whether you want to keep it or not. Well, we'll get into other things as we go. Systems and empowerment is in number 2. Again, Fast Start Guide, you get this month too. Why you need systems and empowerment. You get a reminder on that. You get the step-by-step procedure to create the first 3 systems in 13 minutes. We already talked about how you can do that and how easy that is. You get You Are Important Training DVD. Again, you need to train your team in this new management system and show them that they are empowered and that you really want them to be the experts. And so you get that DVD. You get the step-by-step guide to creating 2 systems for every position in your business in less than 3 hours. So you create, like we did with the receptionist, you create 2, and then you go and give her the rest of them for receptionist, and she creates the rest. You get the step-by-step procedure to turn your team into a system creating machine. And you get the new employee You Are Important DVD. Again, same DVD with a different opening. Starts out with, hey, you're about to see the way we manage our business here. It's entirely different than anything you've ever seen before or anything you've ever worked with before, but you're going to love it. So it starts out with a little different opening. Month 3 is performance management. You get the Fast Start Guide again, get the performance management manual. The manual is really an edited version of Vince Zerpoli's 4.5 hours of training in how to do personal development interviews. So it's an edited thing that you can go back to and review if you want. And then you get the 4.5 hours of training DVDs from Vince Zerpoli on personal development interviews. This is not for your team to watch. This is just for you and your managers to watch in how to implement these. And you get Vince's treasure chest. That's at 254 different jobs with everything, all of his archives, everything he used to create personal development interviews for 254 positions. All you do is go in. If you have a bookkeeper, you go in and you find bookkeeper and you tweak it. If you have a salesperson, you go in and you tweak it. If you have it gets down to 254 positions. It's like, well, geez, billing clerk, collections manager, deputy director, payroll clerk, foreman, and that's just a third of them, okay? So you can easily implement this yourself. You get 8 audio CDs. We haven't talked much about what actually happens in that performance development interview, but you're going to get 8 CDs, 4 of them with me doing personal development interview with people that reported to me, 4 of them with my managers doing them with their people. So you can listen and hear how to do them. You'll learn exactly how you make sure that these people leave pumped up, ready to go take on the world. Let me give you one little hint. The summary of this. You summarize all the cool things that they've done. And if you've got some things that need improvement, you put them in there too. But the summary should include, because you've taken some notes, a bunch of things that they've done, and they leave pumped up, ready to go, take on the world, and a little plan to fix things as they go. Again, in my business, it was 20 minutes 3 times a week in order to manage 6 different people. And often, the lower level people that have the more mundane jobs, they can be like 10 minutes in every 3 weeks or whatever. Okay? And you get the personal development interview evaluation form. And that's where in the CDs, when I give them, I also include an evaluation of this interview and then forms that you can use later to record your own interviews and evaluate them. This is what the entire system looks like. But wait! There's more. Bonuses today. How many of you ever have personal conflict in your business? Now, I'm not talking about conflict of ideas, good personal conflict. You need that. You need conflict. You need conflict that is legitimate, real things in your business. But I'm talking about the petty, I don't like her, I don't like him, personal conflict. You ever have that in your business? Anybody have that? Yeah? You won't have that again. It'll be reduced by about 75% overnight when you show your team what happens when you have personal conflict. And if you do still have it, then you'll get the the instructions and how to get rid of that personal conflict in your business. It sells for $297. You get hiring top performers. How many use benchmarking to hire? Anybody use benchmarking? Raise your hand. Perfect. If you use benchmarking, you will never go back to whatever you're doing now. It's fabulous. And you get hiring top performers who will talk to you about benchmarking and why you need it, and then I'll just give you the resource where you can go get it implemented. I don't do that for you, but you need to use benchmarking. I would never, ever hire another person without benchmarking. You get my employee handbook. I'm the king of swipe and deploy. If you do not have a complete and comprehensive employee handbook, what do you do with mine that comes on Word? You tweak it and use it in your business. And you should have a complete employee handbook. You get 3 months of my Inner Circle membership. I don't do this very often. You get 2 20-minute one-on-one coaching sessions with me. You probably won't need those, but I'm there if you want. And in fact, I'll probably follow up with you and just say, hey, how are things going? This is really cool. I was in Dan Kennedy's mastermind group 2 years ago. We created Titanium Money Marketing and Money Making Secrets. We stayed an extra day. We shared with Dan all of our top money marketing secrets that we learned in Titanium, and we turned it into a product. It sells for $397. Dan grilled each of us on what we had learned and then kind of related it to how everybody else can use it, and you get that also today, and that sells typically for $397. This is at that meeting. In addition to that, the next year, the lead generation, the money-making secrets worked so well that the next year we shared our best lead generation secrets. How do we go about getting leads? And we shared that, and we turned it into a product that sells for $397, and you get that also. I believe in under-promising and over-delivering. And so with my product, you get a full 1-year money-back guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason whatsoever, return it within a year, and you'll get a full money-back guarantee. Guarantee number 2, if you actually do something to implement even one little thing in the system and you want to return it, you can return it anytime for a full refund. So if you take this back and it goes on the bookshelf and it sits there in 2 years, you decide to dig it out, and you actually implement even one little thing, you can return it if you don't like it. And why can I do that? Because if you implement even just the smallest part of this, it's going to be worth your investment, and I know it is. I get about I don't know about if you know about information marketing, but there's up to like 30% returns on a lot of stuff. My return rate is about 1%, and almost all of them have not opened it. Okay? So today, your investment is $2,497. But wait, there's even more. You gave me $25 to be here. And I really appreciate you being here this morning. So I'm going to take another $500 off that, multiply that by 20. So your investment today is $1,997, or 3 payments of $732. So if you want the 3 payments, just write down $732 and circle it, and we'll make sure you get the 3 payments. Let me ask you this. What is it worth to you? What is your family worth? For me, that's what this was. For me, I was that burnt-out guy. It was either the business goes or something gets changed dramatically or my family was going to go because I couldn't do it all. Okay? What is your freedom worth? What is your freedom worth to be able to go and do what you want when you want? Next week, I'm going to work, and I did this also when I had the big business. I go to Montana and I do my marketing. So I get up in the morning, I work on marketing. Okay, the fish are biting about now. I walk off the back porch and I step into the river. I go fish for a while. That's freedom. Okay, what's your freedom worth? What could your business be worth? Is your business really going to be worth anything when it comes time to sell it? If you're running it by the seat of your pants, I can tell you it's not. What is it worth to you to spend your time on the important and not on the unimportant? What is it worth to live your life the way you want to live your life? And what is it worth to live your bucket list now? I'm guessing any one of those that if you could change in your life, you would spend $2,000 to do that. So again, 1 payment of $19.97 or 3 payments of $732. And thank you so much. I did it. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys getting up so early in the morning. Thanks so much.
To order Keith's Make You Happy management system, simply click the button below or call 855-859-7345.